Hello and welcome to our program. My name is Len SIROTZKI and I will serve as your host. I wish we had many more stories like the one we have today. Local boy makes good. He grew up just down the road, and after finishing high school, he decided to serve his country. He did just that in several ways and many places. After serving in the Marines, he worked in different jobs before coming to Manatee County in 2001. And finally, in 2009, he took a position working for veterans in our county. The only question might be, how long will he stay? We can ask that question today. But first, please let me introduce our very special guest, Lee Washington. Lee, thanks for being here.
Good afternoon, Lynn. Good to see you again.
Lee was kind enough to bring in some pictures, and he will describe them to you, which is really pretty much a story of your life, unless we add more to it. So tell us when and where you were born, Lee.
I was born May 1st, 1969 in Port Charlotte, Florida, St. Joseph Hospital.
Yeah, and is it true that you were over 6 feet when you were born?
Not close,
No.
maybe 5.5.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And you grew up in that town?
In Punta Gorda, just across the bridge.
Yeah.
Punta Gorda is where I was born and actually raised primarily.
Tell us about your family.
Well, I'm 8 of 9. I have 6 sisters and 2 older brothers. That photo you have there is with a picture of some of my sisters there at 517 Fitzhugh Avenue. I still remember the home address right there in Punta Gorda, yes.
Does any of the family still live there? Or?
Cousins and aunts and things like that. The majority of the family has since migrated to Orlando.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. And this picture is a beauty. It looks like she was getting the best of you.
Yeah, I think she was giving me the business there. My younger sister, Elizabeth. Yes, 2
Is
years
that your
apart,
sister?
and she still to this day does the whole bossing around thing.
She loves that. Huh?
Yeah.
And then you, of course, school went by pretty quick, and but you were a handsome young guy. You know.
That is my little baby Leroy picture, yes. Yes.
Leroy.
Can't run away from that photo, yes. Turtleneck and all.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you went to high school. Tell me again the high school.
Charlotte High School in Punta
Charlotte.
Gorda, yes.
Yeah. Did you ever play against Manatee schools? Or?
Not that I can recollect, no.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, good. Because I hate losses. Then you decided, was there any reason that made you go into the Marines?
Well, I was in 7th grade. A young man came home from Marine boot camp in his dress blues. And when I saw that uniform, I said, that's what I want to be. So I did everything that I possibly could to work towards that goal. And when I was in junior high school, I was given the opportunity to enlist into the delayed entry program at 17. And then upon completion of high school, on the boot camp I went.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to boot camp?
The only island, Parris Island, South Carolina.
A nice place, right?
Yeah, kind of, sort of, when you're leaving.
Yeah, when you're leaving.
Yeah, when you're leaving.
I know it seems like all the Marines went to Parris Island.
Yeah, it was a rough time for sure.
No, not a rough time. This picture makes it very clear that you did not have a rough time.
That's that old nasty gas chamber, yes, Lynn.
Yeah.
They got me.
Yeah,
Yeah, they found me with the camera.
I was in the Navy, but I had to do the same thing, by the way.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
After boot camp, then your kind of dream
Yes, indeed.
came true.
Eagle, Globe, and Anchor, dress blues, ready to rock, ready to roll.
It's a very pretty uniform. It's not, but you were proud.
Very proud.
Then. Yeah.
Very proud. You can't tell in that photo I was actually sweating, but yeah, that's. But yes.
Were your folks there?
No, not here at the graduation. No, sir.
No. Okay. All right. But then you went in, and tell us, where did you go? To begin with, where was your first duty station?
My first duty station after graduation from boot camp was at the School of Infantry in Camp Pendleton, where I studied to be a machine gunner. When I joined the Marine Corps, that's where I really wanted to be involved with machine guns, and I got the opportunity to do that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But did you stay with machine guns?
I stayed with machine guns the majority of the time. That was always going to be my MOS, my specialty. However, in the School of Infantry, I was chosen to become a security guard for the Marine Corps, and after that,
I understand why.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. But yeah, I was very fortunate to leave there.
Arm wrestle, all right?
No, I don't want to lose.
But you were pretty good with a rifle.
I think so, yes. I've always been an expert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you train people?
Yeah, later on in my career, I was very fortunate to be chosen to be a marksmanship instructor out at Edson Range back at Camp Pendleton after a few tours, different duty stations and overseas.
Okay, yeah. So one at a time. After Camp Pendleton, or your introduction to Camp Pendleton.
Yes.
Where did you go then?
I was sent to Chesapeake, Virginia, to security school, and I spent a couple months there. And then I received orders to be transferred to Kings Bay, Georgia, the Navy submarine base there, and one of the first Marines stationed there in 1988.
And you were there as a guard.
Yes.
Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Security guard on the naval base.
Yeah, they liked you for that position, it seems.
Well, you know, where you can find the Navy, you find those Marines too, so for sure. I have to protect them and all.
Yeah, if it was my turn to tell you my stories, I could tell you a story about a Marine.
All right.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do it.
Not now on camera, no.
No, can't do it. But anyway, you eventually, now, you're going to get overseas, right?
Yes. After that tour in Kings Bay, I had orders to go back to Camp Pendleton to the infantry, the Fleet Marine Force is what they call it. And I was with 2nd Battalion, 9th Marines, and we had a deployment to go to Okinawa, a 6-month rotation. But that was in 1990, and we all know what happened in August of 1990. A Desert Shield kicked off, and we received orders to head over to the Philippines to relieve a unit that then ended up over in Iraq and Kuwait.
Okay, you talk a little bit fast.
I do.
Slow down. You said you were in Okinawa.
That is correct.
And then Desert Shield
kicked off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they needed you.
Well, they needed us to fulfill another role in the Philippines, so we got transferred to the Philippines, and we relieved the unit there that was sent over to Kuwait and Iraq.
Okay. And go on.
We stayed there for about 6 months, security reasons, and just fulfilling the mission of the Marine Corps. Yeah. And then we received orders to get back to Okinawa after everything had settled down. As we know, Desert Storm didn't last that long.
No.
And then, of course, we rotated back to the States, to Camp Pendleton again. And that's when I received those orders to be a marksmanship instructor.
Okinawa. Okinawa, of course, was a big battleground during World War II.
Correct.
And when you were there, what was it like? What was Okinawa like?
Well, the climate with the civilians there in the town, they loved us. You know, it was kind of odd for us. We were in the northern area, Camp Swab, and so we were kind of away from all the action. But we had an opportunity to get into town from time to time, and they welcomed us. It was beautiful countryside, you know, great diving, all those other things that the country had to offer. But I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Did you ever get to Japan, the mainland?
Mainland Japan on my second tour in Okinawa, yes. We did a tour in the mainland Japan. We went up Camp Fuji and things like that. But that was my second tour at Camp Pendleton, yes.
Yeah. Okay. And all right, you got to tell me. Because I don't know where you went and here. I have one interesting picture. This looks like Marines. I mean,
indeed.
And
that's what we call it ourselves, the triple threat. We were all marksmanship instructors, and we always had recruits go through, and not one ever did not qualify. And we were proud of that, and we were out celebrating in Tijuana, Mexico. And that photo there, actually, the couple in the back is one of my closest friends. He and his wife have been together ever since that photo.
Does your hat say Cal?
Cal, yes. Like University of California.
Yeah, it was California.
Yeah, that's when we were marksmanship instructors after my first tour overseas.
Yeah. How many guys would you say that you trained over the years with as far as a rifle?
As far as marksmanship, I would say a couple hundred easy. Yeah, easily.
Now, with marksmanship, does that include like snipers?
Not snipers. It was basic marksmanship with the M16 and the .45 pistol.
Yeah.
Later on in my career, I was able to, do some combat training and some security with close quarter battles, hostage rescue, and whatnot.
Wow.
Yes.
Did you ever go back in a gas chamber?
No, not under the recruit label. We have to do that every year as far as the gas chamber goes, but it's not as bad as it was in boot camp.
First
No. No. And as you pick up rank, it becomes a lot easier as well,
when
too.
they forget to let you out.
Yeah, jumping jacks, push-ups, all those types of things. Say your name. Yeah. Take a deep breath.
So how many years total were you in the Marines?
10 years, 10 months, and 28 days.
And I know you thought about staying.
I did. I truly wanted to be a lifelong Marine as far as on active duty. However, after my second tour, I decided to start looking at other things. And for me, I kind of felt as though I'd served my purpose. I've achieved everything that I did. I always wanted to do as a kid, picked up rank extremely fast and saw the world. And I wanted to do something different. And that's what I decided. It was hard, but I ended up being discharged.
So what rank did you get to by the time you got out? What were you?
Staff sergeant.
Staff sergeant?
E6, yes, sir.
Yeah, nice going.
Yeah.
Well, good for you.
I loved it.
And so do we say goodbye to the Marines then? Or do you have any Marine stories that you can share?
I would like not to share any of those
Not to
Marine
share.
stories, but
Okay.
life was good for sure. Being a Marine, it was my lifelong dream. I was able to achieve that, met some great friends that I still have relationships with today, and it molded me into the person that I've always needed to be, and that's an adult, responsible man.
Yeah. Do you think Marines had anything to do with America?
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Do you have any problem suggesting to young people that they consider the Marines?
Well, I think, here's the thing that I always tell people when they're thinking about the service. You have to take a look at what works best for you and what challenges you. The Marine Corps is always going to challenge its recruits to be the best they possibly can be.
Yeah.
They're going to break you down and build you right back up to where they think you need to be. And no Marine that you meet will ever be told that they can't do anything. Yeah. They'll run right through that wall if necessary. But obviously, some folks serve in other services. But, I applaud all veterans. And for the young men and women coming out of high school and really aren't sure what they want to do, take a look at the service for sure.
Great place.
Most definitely.
I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, anyway, after 12 years, what year was that, by the way?
1998.
98, you got out.
Yep, I was discharged 1998 from Camp Pendleton, August of that year.
Yeah, you spent a lot of time at Camp Pendleton.
I did. I was very fortunate. Coming from Florida to receive orders in California wasn't that regular. You'd be sent to North Carolina normally, but I was very fortunate to see something different.
Did you get to Tijuana often?
A few times when I wasn't working, yes.
Yeah.
It was nice time down in Tijuana.
And then you were out.
Yes.
And so did you decide to get a job right away, or?
I did. Initially, what I looked at was law enforcement. A lot of servicemen and women, they look at law enforcement because it's an easy transition.
Absolutely.
And I had a younger Marine that I had trained when I was at another duty station in Maryland, had gotten out of the service and was now in the supervisory role for a bodyguard company. And he had asked, did I ever consider that? And I said, no, not really. I was thinking more along the lines of highway patrol and either in California or Florida.
Sure.
But I took a look at it and I took the position to be a private bodyguard.
Wow.
Yes.
They make TV shows about that, don't they?
They do. And life's a little bit different than what you see on TV for sure. Yeah.
Did you like that?
I did enjoy it. I really enjoyed the people that I worked with, the folks that we were responsible for. But being fresh out of the Marine Corps, Hollywood is one of those things that's set up for a different type of a person other than a Marine fresh off active duty.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah, but I really did enjoy the experience.
How long did you stay?
I stayed there 6 months. 6 months, and I decided that it was time for me to get back to Florida and do some other things that my heart really was seeking.
Okay. Yeah. So the bodyguard thing was up north, right?
No, it was actually in California, LA, Beverly Hills area. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Cool.
Great duty.
Yeah.
A lot of different things that you see. Yeah, very nice. Traffic, not so much, though.
And then you decided that I'm a California baby and I'm going home.
I'm going home. Going back to Charlotte County, Florida.
And that's what you did.
And that's exactly what I did.
Well, you did. You were pretty loyal to your own dreams and your own wishes.
That's what I really just sought out to do. You know,
Yeah.
being a teenager, you know, your mind's going a mile a minute. You really
Yeah.
don't know what you want to do. But I was very fortunate to stay focused on becoming a Marine, and I did that.
Yeah.
And when it was time for me to come back home, I did that as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
And did you go to work right away, or did you hit the beach?
I don't think I really need the beach that much, but you know, every now and again I'll work on my tan. But what I really wanted to do was take some time and re-engage with my son. Being in the military active duty, I was gone a bit. So it gave me an opportunity to spend more time with my son and figure out exactly what I wanted to do in life.
When was your son born?
1987, while I was still in boot camp.
Oh,
Yes.
oh my.
Yeah, so right out of boot camp, I'm a father, and off I went again on different deployments and training.
Yeah, wow. So I bet he was glad to have you home.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah,
Yes,
cool.
as was I.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Two guys thinking alike.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, but yeah, I went back to Charlotte County, and I lived off savings for a small portion of time, and decided to take a manager role into retail market. So I did that in Charlotte County, Punta Gorda as well.
A retail market.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Well, you know, Dollar Tree stores. I took a manager's position with Dollar Tree stores, and it was down in Burnt Store, Florida, a subdivision of Punta Gorda. And just so happened one day an individual walked in and he said, you know, you don't seem to fit the manager of a retail store. And we were just chit-chatting a bit, and he said, what do you want to really get into? I said, well, maybe one day I'll get into the real estate market because I like numbers and finance. And it just so happened, he said, well, that's what I do for a living. I'm in the mortgage business. And that very next day, the president of his company called me, and I began my mortgage career.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I thought so.
Yeah.
You know, it just so happens. Things happen
You're
for
a
a
lucky
reason.
guy.
Kind of, sort of, very fortunate in life so far, yes.
Yeah. And how was the real estate business?
It was great. You know, this was 1999 at that point. So I worked for a broker down in Port Charlotte, got my feet wet, and really understood the business. And then when I moved to Manatee County, I took a position with a nationwide lender. Countrywide Home Loans was the name back then.
Okay, so you were in that real estate business from Charlotte up to here.
That is correct, yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
Okay, so you sold some stuff here in Manatee County?
Yeah,
Is that
so
right?
financed quite a bit of homes here in Manatee County, Sarasota, and around the state for sure. We did that for almost 10 years total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then, of course, we all know what happened in the mid to 2006, 2008 time frame. The market slowed, and we had to figure out how was I going to reinvent myself.
Yeah.
And
So
what I did from that point is I took a part-time position at the Sarasota National Cemetery, which you're very familiar with.
yes, indeed.
And very fortunate again to be with them as they were completing the first phase of construction and opened that up in January of 2009. So, you know, it was, things just fell into place for me right at the right time.
And maybe you know this. How many guys are buried there now?
I want to say there are up over
14,000.
14,000. 14,000 burials.
14,000.
Yes.
In just that short time.
Very short period of time.
It is fantastic, really.
Yeah.
That's, and we, different groups of people, like the American Legion, spend a lot of time down there.
They do.
With 14 burials.
Yeah, the Honor Guard spends a lot of time
Oh,
down there
yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. Well, anyway, then I don't know if I'm getting these in order. No, I think I might be wrong. Where are we here?
We're in Bradenton, Manatee County. After I'd moved to the area, that's me tinkering with a three-wheel bike that I found alongside of the road.
That's a good-looking bike.
It is. I spray painted it silver. But here's the thing you can't see in that photo. The frame was bent. So I would drive it a little cockeyed, but I wanted to ride it. So I would take that down to the Green Bridge and do some fishing when I wasn't working. But yeah, I found it alongside the road and just dressed it up with a little spray paint.
And fishing is a thing with you.
If I weren't here sitting with you right now, I'd probably be fishing.
You'd be
Oh,
fishing.
yes. Oh, yes.
And what point in life is this one from?
That is my son's graduation photo. He is my firstborn, the love of my life, and that is when he was graduating high school over in Palm Beach.
Wow. And how old is he now?
He is 28 now. You know.
Wow. He's almost as old as you, for cripples.
Indeed.
It's good. And speaking of fishing,
See, there you go.
now don't tell me you caught all those fish that are hanging there.
3/4 of them.
Did you?
3/4. I at least help with them. Yeah, that was a good day. Yeah, that photo there is with my best friend from the Marine Corps and his spouse. They came down and we did some fishing. And of course, my son's there with me.
Wow.
Happy days.
And so when you're in Manatee County, this has become your home,
Yes, it has.
right?
Yes.
You're here. And I know you love your son. You've made that very clear. And that's not your son in this picture, though, is
That's
it?
my best friend, Rodney.
Okay.
As Marines, we will laugh every now and again. So we were having a good time at Six Flags. Yes.
I see you're strapped in pretty good.
Yeah, that was a Superman ride. Yes, Man of Steel ride. And yeah, Six Flags in D.C. Yeah.
And here you're off. Same place?
No, that was when we came back from vacation. Actually, that's in Orlando, and you can barely see it in that photo, but that's my daughter in that photo. She was 3 years old at that time. We were riding a ride.
In the car?
Yeah.
In the car, that's her.
Yep,
Okay.
that is her. You can barely see her little head, but she is there with me for sure.
So you got two kids. You have the older is a boy, younger is a girl.
That is correct.
What's their names?
Daniel and Victoria, but Daniel goes by Jamie, but yes, I have two.
Daniel and Victoria.
Yes, sir.
Very nice names. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm not even going to say anything. Who is this?
That would be me in a younger year.
Yeah.
But that was a photo that I took as a headshot kind of when I was in the mortgage business.
In the mortgage business.
Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. All right. Darn. And okay, I think how about this one?
Well, believe it or not, that photo was taken here in Manatee County as well. That photo actually was a feature photo that the newspaper, The Observer, did with me when I was named Employee of the Year in 2013. And that's just shot in my living room here in Bradenton.
Wow, let's say that again. The Observer newspaper?
That is correct.
Not the Manatee newspaper, the Observer.
Yeah, the East Manatee Observer.
Oh, East
Yes.
Manatee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know that paper. Sorry. And you were Employee of the Year by their paper.
That is correct. Named by Manatee County, and they came out and did a story on who I was and what we did here in the community. Yes.
Do you want me to make the same recommendation? I will. I'll tell you, this guy is you are so well suited to your job. And
Thank you.
You are. I think everybody I know likes you very much. Now I have a hunch on who this is.
That's my granddaughter, believe it or not.
Granddaughter.
Yeah, that's my granddaughter. That is my son's daughter, and we're playing on the swings again. Marines like to have fun, so being a grandpa, it's a great joy. And that you caught me there on the swings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just don't. I don't think of you as grandpa.
I know. Neither do I, unless I'm with them.
Yeah, I'm a great grandpa.
Oh, wow.
I got 4 great grandchildren.
I got a little time before I hit that.
I know.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, and this must be
Grandson.
grandson.
Yep, teaching him how to navigate those bars there. There's another picture of me trying that, but I don't think I sent that one to you.
No, you didn't. But you did send me this one.
That I did.
Yeah. And,
That I did.
And there you are fishing again.
That's a nice snook I caught down by the Skyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had to let him go, though.
So what do you do? Go out on a? Is that what you do? No, you go by boat and from shore.
And from shore, sometimes I'll wade, sometimes I'll kayak. It really depends on the day. But that day, my girlfriend and I, we were down on the seawall near the Skyway and just happened to have a few shrimp and tossed it over the side, and there it is.
You reached in your pocket and there was some shrimp.
Somebody had a camera too and caught it on film. But yeah, I had to let him go though. Wasn't the season.
Yeah. Now this can't be too long ago.
No, that was actually this summer. Actually, my son proposed and his bride accepted, and I was very fortunate to officiate their wedding. So that's me standing with him there as we're down in the Keys, getting ready for his bride to come down the aisle.
This is in the Keys.
That is correct.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hawks Cay down.
Good deal. And that's got to be your son.
That is my son with his 2 kids, right there down in the Keys. That was right after the ceremony.
So, and they're all doing fine.
Doing great. They were just down for Thanksgiving, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Yes.
And here you are, the last picture that you sent me.
That's my anchor. That's my better half. Her name is Robin, and very special.
Lovely lady. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, so we know a little bit about how you moved through life, how you got to Manatee County.
Yes, sir.
And then eventually, how did you get the job you've got now?
Well, when I was at the National Cemetery, it was just part-time. So I was doing that and some banking, and I just really needed to transition into something more full-time. And sure enough, I went to the county website, and they had a Veterans Counsel position open. And I applied, I interviewed, and I was selected to fill that position, and came on board with the county August of that year.
And what year?
2009.
And this is what is this year?
2016.
Yeah.
So a little bit over 7 years I've been there.
Yeah,
And,
amazing.
I think so. In that same year that Employee of the Year, I was named to lead the department. So good times there at Manatee County, doing some great things.
You're a great leader. You are the supervisor of the service officers. Am I correct?
Yes, sir, I am.
Yeah, and I know I've sent so many times when I would have an appropriate contact. I call Lee Washington. Just give Lee a call.
Yeah.
He'll handle you. Tell the audience, what does your office do? What do you guys do?
I think the easiest way, Lynn, to sum it up is we advocate for veterans and their family. You know, not every veteran is going to be able to communicate what they need directly to the VA. So Florida being one of the more veteran-friendly states, they have an office just like mine in every county, so that those veterans, when they're discharged, going back to rural America and trying to figure out what they're going to do in life, they're given an opportunity to meet with us. We sit and talk about what their concerns are, what they're trying to get linked up with as far as services, and we have to advocate on their behalf. And being veterans ourselves, we kind of understand where they're coming from. So when it comes to service-related disabilities, long-term pensions for those older veterans trying to transition to long-term care facilities, health care, education, housing, pretty much anything that the veteran and their family may need, our office is the one-stop shop. And we've done many different things with community partners to make sure that we're doing our job.
How does a veteran, let me restate that. A soldier coming home, how does he know that your office exists?
Well, the state has done a great job. Our parent organization is Florida Department of Veteran Affairs. So they have gotten their information with all the Department of Defense stations and whatnot as far as when veterans are discharged. And once they give the State Department of Veteran Affairs their address where they're moving to, we get copies of their discharge documents and a heads up that they're in the community. And then that's when we seek them out. And also with the county tax collector's office that does the driver's license, they also have a box that they check if they want to be contacted from the Florida Department of Veteran Affairs. But obviously we have websites, we have a Facebook page trying to reach out to those more than 40,000 veterans we have here in the county.
Yeah. How does homelessness fit into your office, or does it?
It does. I think because, again, if you're talking about homeless veterans, we're going to be one of the main ones they contact. However, the benefits that we have, they end up having to be filtered through the federal government that doesn't always move as fast as we'd need them to.
Yeah.
So the VA's done a good job with partnering with other organizations such as Turning Points, Salvation Army, Jewish Family and Children Services, and other organizations throughout the county that are actually on ground zero. So when they can identify those homeless veterans, they can assist them getting into permanent housing.
Is there anything at all in a veteran's life that you're not involved in or could be involved in?
I don't believe so. I think that, regardless of their question, if it's veteran related or service related, we can help them.
I think if there are any Blue Star families that are watching the show today, and you have concerns maybe about your own son or daughter as they come home, remember what Lee just talked about. I think that you play such a key role. I mean, you're a hero. Maybe you were a hero in other ways, but you certainly are a hero. But you're kind of unsung in what you do. But if you help one person, if you just help one, but do you have any idea about numbers, about how many guys will actually come and see you or contact you?
Well, I would say if we took just the average figures of what we see on a weekly basis, last year we saw a little bit over 14,000 veterans.
Wow.
And I shared with you, we have a little bit over 40,000. So what we do is, we go out to just about every event that asks us, and we have our own events within the county. We go out and speak with assisted living facilities, veteran organizations, and we even have monthly and quarterly meetings with all the other veteran service organizations to get the word out.
Yeah.
We can't really see all those 40,000 vets and their families from our office. We have to get out and have other partners in the community to do that.
Are you in a position like if suppose a young lady who just got discharged from the Navy comes to your office and says, "I'm in trouble paying my rent, I need $200. Can you help with that sort of thing?
Yes, and what we do is we reach out to our community partners, whether it be the veteran organizations such as VFW, the American Legion, Salvation Army, Goodwill Services. All those are partners that we have within the community that can act a lot faster than trying to do an application and submit it to the VA.
Right.
We do follow up with those because, depending on when they serve, they have other benefits that they've earned as well, and we want to make sure that they get those. But right now, for that instance, we're going to partner them with someone in the community.
How many service officers are there for Manatee County?
Well, I was very fortunate to get the vote from the Board of County Commissioners to add a new staff member, and I did that this afternoon. So now we have 4 counselors and 2 admin staff. And we see folks right there in our office every day, Monday through Friday, on appointments and even walk-ins.
Wow, hey,
Yes.
That's pretty good. And does your staff work daytime hours only, or are they available in the evening, or no?
Primarily, it's Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. We do home visits on some Fridays for those that can't come in. But being service officers, I'll get an email in the middle of the evening and I'll answer it.
Sure.
Phone calls not so much, but we'll get the emails and then we get the voice messages. So primarily it's in the morning to the early afternoon time frames that we see most of the folks. But if there's a need, most of the community partners know how to reach out to me via cell phone.
What's the biggest challenge that you face?
I would say the time frame. The majority of the veterans that we see are unaware of all the programs and services that they've actually earned on active duty. And when we actually sit with them and try to figure out the best way to attack it, at some point we have to put pen to paper and send it off with hopes that it's going to be processed in a speedy time frame. But right now we all heard of the VA backlogs and things like that. I think that's the hardest hurdle to overcome because a lot of veterans really need help right now.
They need it now.
And it doesn't matter how much money you throw at the problem. It's not going to always be enough to make them whole again, fast enough, I should say. But it's gotten a lot better than it has been in the past for the older veterans, for sure.
Yeah. Do you, if I said after World War I there was a veterans group that protested, when they were in World War I, they were promised a bonus.
Money. That's right.
And
made that march.
You know about
made
that.
the march on D.C. Yes, I'm aware of it. Yes.
Yeah. So what happened was, or can you tell the audience what happened with that march?
Well, my recollection is that they were promised a certain type of a bonus after the war ended, and it was supposed to happen in a particular year. But they saw the state of the United States, and they decided, well, we need to figure out if we can get this payment a little earlier.
Yeah.
And they did so. They marched on D.C., but obviously it wasn't too welcome, and most of them were arrested or kicked out of the city. So
yeah, it was a sad story because the soldiers had been told that they would get their bonus in 1945.
Right.
And in 1932, they said, geez, 1945, that's
ways
a
off.
long way away.
Yeah.
And how about giving us our bonus now?
Right.
And really one of the saddest things I think about that event was that the first Washington, D.C. tried to break it up with police.
Correct.
That didn't work.
No.
And so who did they call? Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember the exact name.
United States Army.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty for sure.
And the man in charge of breaking up that camp was Douglas MacArthur.
General MacArthur.
Yeah. And that's really, I always thought that was really sad. The guy had to, go in.
Part of our history, the country was in a bad place back then for sure, yeah.
But they did get their bonus. They got it 4 years later instead of 14. So at least they made a point. And I think that VA learned a big lesson from that event. And they decided that maybe we ought to start giving benefits to veterans as soon as they get out.
Discharge,
and the benefits for a veteran, I know you referred to this, and I'm not sure if you were specific, but there are multiple benefits available for veterans if they know about them, right?
Most definitely. And that's the hardest thing is if they know about it. Because nowadays when men and women are being discharged, they have that transition briefing about where they need to go when they get home, how to file claims and whatnot. But most of those folks are getting out. They're trying to reconnect with their families. And they don't always know everything to ask. So it's our responsibility, whether you live here in Manatee County or anywhere else, to probe that veteran, figure out what's exactly going on with them, and construct a plan going forward. But you're right, a lot of them don't have an idea, to include our older veterans.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm one of those.
Yeah. But we talked about the history, and I think that because of veterans that served when you served, the Vietnam veterans, obviously, the way that they were treated, they've made it a lot easier for the men and women coming home today as far as how they're accepted.
Oh, yeah.
So there are a lot of community organizations out there fighting for those veterans' rights up in D.C. as well as here in the county.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Well, now, what did I not ask you about?
Well, you've asked me about many different things, but I think that, being in Manatee County and what I do, I just want to stress again the importance of veterans and their families to know that we're there to assist them. Yeah. Their tax dollars pay our salaries, so we're there to assist them in any way that we possibly can, formulating a plan to be successful with disabilities, getting them VA health care. For those older veterans that are transitioning to long-term care facilities, for wartime veterans, there is a pension set aside to help afford that. And a lot of folks really don't know that. It's a very underused benefit.
Yeah, I know. That's a shame. Okay, I think I've kind of run out of questions.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No.
So I think we're gonna close the program. That will conclude today's program. And first, I must thank our very special guest, Lee Washington, for sharing his stories with us. Next, and always thanks to the powerful staff of METV for putting this program together and airing it. And finally, thanks to all those men and women who are watching at home, taking your valuable time to watch our program, America's Veterans. Without veterans, there would be no America. Please honor all the veterans for what they have done, and remember that freedom is never free. Thank you. Thanks, Lee.
My pleasure. Good to see you again.